Welcome to Blinkers Off with your hosts, Jared Welch and Aaron Halterman.
Hello, what is up? I'm Jared Welch, he's Aaron Halterman. It is Thursday. No, it's not. It's Monday, May 12th, and this is Blinkers Off, special Blinkers Off, because we are going live for the Preakness draw. Halterman, what's up?
Yeah, what's up? Your girl Brittany Hurton is on the stage right now there at I guess that's Pimlico, getting ready for the draw here. So yeah, it's nice. It's a day or two late. I wish they would have drawn a little bit earlier, but that's all right. No big deal.
Well, hey, listen. I mean, considering what we've what this little this stretch has been like, the fact that we're here and we have the Derby runner-up, we have the Derby favorite and the Derby second choice in the race. All things considered, I call that a win.
Could have been worse. That's for sure. Could have been a whole heck of a lot worse. I don't think it's that bad of a race, honestly. I think it's pretty good. Obviously, if you had Sovereignty in the race, I think it'd be one of the better ones we've had lately, honestly. If you had that rematch, and like I said, you got Sandman, who, hey, he had trouble. A lot of it was his own fault, whatever, but still, more of a normal race for him, stuff like that. So, I mean, look, I think it's a decent enough race. Obviously, it would have been better with the Derby winner, but it's not. So we'll do what we do with it now, I guess.
Yeah, it's again, like I say, it's not ideal, but it is what it is. And hey, Liz, I gotta say this: props to the Sandman connections, whatever. Like, I think they saw a race that set up nicely for them, plus a weak race, but really props to journalism and their connections who. Even from the jump, whereas like we kind of joked about like from the jump, Sovereignty connections were like no, whereas from the jump it was like they wanted journalism to run. It was just a matter of is the horse, how's the horse doing? The connections. That's what you and I kept talking about, even privately all week and all last week. It's like, listen, I think they want to. It's just a matter if they will. And obviously all signs were good from the horse, and they're entering him. So. A lot of props to the connections there to get defeated as a very clear Derby favorite and then run back here in 2 weeks at Pimlico.
Oh, yeah, they deserve a lot of credit. And I'll go as far as to say I think they saved this race a little bit. If journalism's not in this field, listen, I'm not saying we're betting him or we're not betting him yet. I'm just saying if he wasn't in the field, that would be pretty tough to look at this and go, well, this is a great race, right? But, now that he's in it, it's like, okay, we've got him. Sandman, we know is a decent enough horse. Baffert does have one here that won on Kentucky Derby Day, at least. You got the Lucas situation as well. So there's enough in it to be intriguing, enough in it to have a really good Saturday. And that was kind of my worry all along. It's like, well, if we don't get journalism, we got kind of nothing, in this now. But we do have him, marquee race. And look, if he wins, all of a sudden he wins the Preakness, second in the Derby, and we've got a fight on our hands for all the awards and stuff like that, which is kind of what you want as well.
Do you think that if they decide to, if he wins, do you think that they would consider running in the Belmont as like a rubber match type race?
In the old days, yes, but we're certainly not in the old days. I don't really know in old days. What I mean by that is like, 8 years ago, let's say, right? I don't know now. I really don't. I'm really not sure. Great question. I hope the answer is yes. We did see like a Mystic Dan running all three. We saw Seize the Gray run all three of the days. He won the Pat Day, the Preakness, and then he ran in the Belmont. So maybe journalism will do it. That would be fun to see. Obviously, I think if he doesn't win, then no, we're not going to see that. But yeah, obviously, if he does, maybe we will.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think they'll definitely consider it. I mean, I think just based on how they handled this setup, I think if the horse is doing fine, obviously you have 3 weeks off versus 2. I don't think they're, and then you can be like, hey, well, after that you can, make a plan for, the classic backwards. But yeah, I think having, and again, I think it helps too, Halterman, to be running at 1.25 miles again versus 1.5 miles.
Yeah, it's up for the Belmont for sure. I agree with that, and I think that does kind of change the situation for a few horses as well when we get closer to it. So I think that's a good point. I agree. I'm with you. Like I think it would be interesting if he is able to kind of win here and do it impressively. And I'm in the camp of it's a big if for me. But if he can do something like that, then it's on the table. If it's a hard race, he wins by half length. Maybe they don't, So I think, if he wins, as I said, I think that's a big if, and then how he wins, I think will be the two big keys. But look, I mean, the Belmont, we're going to have the Derby winner, right? So it's like, that right there adds intrigue into the race, and then journalism would just kind of put it to another level.
Yeah, I think it would be, there's different ways to look at it, because one, you could say, well, if you win this, again, all this is assuming you win. I think it's out the window if you lose. But if you win this race, you could say, all right, well, we won one of the Triple Crown races. I don't care what happens in the Belmont, and now let's go win the Classic, and let's work our way to that kind of thing. And then we win Classic at Preakness, boom. I don't care what Sovereignty does. Yeah. That's one side of it. The other side of it is, hey, we could go win 2 of the 3 legs, and the other one we got second, and that kind of, even though you didn't win the Triple Crown, you certainly would be one of the better horses ever to not win the Triple Crown. And so I think there's that aspect of it too. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah. If you could go win the 2 legs of it, it would kind of just be he would fall under like the Elite Alex category is, oh man, we just didn't get done in the Derby, but we're able to win the last 2. But I mean, there's a lot to still unfold. I think everybody kind of, once the Derby's over, it's kind of like, okay, well, we've got our situation. It's like there's so much to unfold. That's just one of the 3 legs of this Triple Crown, and then not to mention what's going to happen in the summer. So, and you said it, ultimately, you're all kind of working backwards after that Derby's over. You work backwards a little bit to the Breeders' Cup. That's the next big one there as well. So, look, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this unfolds. I remember when Epicenter ran in this a couple of years ago, and Rich Strike didn't. I thought there is no way Epicenter's losing this race. And there was not for 1 second in the race you thought he was winning the race. So, it's not easy to win these races. I know he's going to look good on paper, but it's not easy.
I kept thinking about that today, Epicenter,
Yeah.
A very similar situation coming into this race after the Derby, thinking, he had the race won and really had and very similar horse really for the lead up to the Derby, had a hell of a season going in and just seemed like such a tough horse to beat. And then he does get beat, and like, well, best horse always wins Preakness. He'll be impossible. I mean, he's going to be, and then he didn't help that he got himself in all kinds of trouble, but he definitely didn't win. Right. And, there's something to be said. I think there's a ton of speed in here. And what if one of these horses that is very fast decides they want to keep going? Right. And, it makes it a little tough for a horse like Journalism off the 2 weeks, who, by the way, ran hard in the Derby. To get there,
Yeah, and that's just it. And I remember thinking, hey, we're going to get this, we're going to get it back with Journalism here. It's not going to be the price we had in the Derby. We're going to get him at a decent price and be fine. And then, like I said, he got beat by early voting. So they don't give these races out, and Journalism have to show up and run well. There's no doubt. I think he's going to need to be pretty good to win it. I think his best race is going to look better than everybody else, no doubt. But you can't just phone him in. So they do have the draw up here, so I'll read them off here, Jared. I don't know if you're watching or not.
Well, I mean, as soon as you said Brittany, I turned it on.
Okay, all right. So you've got it on.
I am watching, correct? Yeah. I'm not paying attention to the posts and stuff. I'm just put to what she's looking like. So
okay, well, I'll read them off here, and you can write them down.
Joey, I don't have the sound. We're finding that out right now. Second favorite will probably be Sandman, I would assume. But
I would imagine, Joey. We'll talk about it here in a second as well. We'll talk about Sandman once the field's drawn, and will all those people show up or not? All right, River Thames is number 6. Number 6, River Thames. There you go. Oh, you don't have to write it. That's right. You just have the number there. Love it.
Yeah, I'll refresh it and reorder it after they draw. But
Sandman will be number 7. Number 7, Sandman. So obviously the worried or scaredness isn't here for the Preakness as it is the Derby draw.
Yeah, there's no real, especially in a field of 9. And we're not talking about even a 14 horse field. It's guess really no excuses here whatsoever. So
No.
yeah, hey, listen, I got you.
Here's our boy William, our $1,000 winner. Second straight race, Bob Baffert gets a rail with goal oriented. How funny is that? Wow.
Has the wife spent the $1,000 yet, Bartles? The big winner of our $1,000 Racing Dudes Derby on Derby Day. We'll be doing that again, by the way, guys, on June 1st. So stay tuned for that. Become a premium subscriber at racingdudes.com. You'll get the Preakness Betting Bible for free. You'll get the Belmont Betting Bible for free, and you'll be entered to win that $1,000 cash money June 1st. So it's a good time to be a subscriber.
Number 2 is journalism.
Look at that. They're already ordered for me.
Wow, look at this. 2 journalism. Number 8, clever again.
Really like this horse.
Yeah.
Tough spot, though, with all the speed in here, but this is a nice horse.
Yep, absolutely. I like him, too. Number 3, American Promise.
Dude, 1, 2, 3. There we go.
There, you knew.
I did, yeah.
3, American Promise. So speed at the 1, speed at the 3. Just sandwich the 2, and you'll never see him again.
And you got the 8 and the 6 as some speed there as well, coming from the outside. So this thing will certainly set up for horses on the outside, horses on the inside. And then it's gonna be a lot of jockey race there at that first run there, because trying to get position.
Absolutely, yes. Number 5 is Pay Billy. Pay Billy. 2 to go. Heart of Honor and Gosker. Gosker, number 9.
Alrighty.
And so Heart of Honor will be number 4, obviously. All right, there you go. What are your thoughts?
I mean, again, I think you look at the order here. Let me sort this. Nope, not that way. There we go.
There it is.
You look at the field there, and you like you say, goal oriented, American Promise. Horses that are going to go. River Thames and Clever again. So there's a lot of speed in here, and again, I do think it's going to be very pivotal how these horses start, because I do have this kind of sneaky suspicion that one of these, and I kind of lean towards it being either Clever again or River Thames or Thames, however you want to say it, being one of those horses that kind of gets that quote unquote easy lead. I'm not a big fan. I don't love it when Bob Baffert brings a horse like this in. American Promise, I don't know if this can happen again, although famous last words, right, for Dwayne.
Yeah.
But I'm okay against those. But Clever again's fresh. River Thames is fresh. Both horses that were kind of aimed to the Derby at one point. Now, either because of being delayed or didn't want to go that far or whatever, here they are. So they're coming in the race fresh. So I have the most fear for journalism backer on those 2 horses. That's kind of how I see it. I don't know if Gosker I picked him last race. I like him a lot. I don't know if he's good enough. Sandman, I mean, the race will set up. I don't know.
All right, morning line coming up now. Goal oriented 6 to 1. Journalism 8 to 5.
Wow, I kind of expected this to be way lower than that.
American Promise 15 to 1. Heart of Honor 12 to 1. Pay Billy 20 to 1. River Thames, interesting, 9 to 2.
Interesting.
That might be the second choice. We'll see what Sandman is. I haven't announced it yet.
I'd say 4 to 1.
4 to 1. There you go. Yep. So he will be the second choice. Clever again, 5 to 1.
And Gosker 8 to 1. That's my
20.
Guess. 20?
20 to 1.
Dang, I like that.
Yeah. All right. A lot of people freaking out. Well, not freaking out. A lot of people laughing at the 8 to 5. And I think from a handicapping standpoint, from just looking at the data, which it's not out yet, but it will be soon, and we kind of know these horses by now. He doesn't seem like he's going to be 8-5. Here's what I'll say: if the Sandman people show up again, I don't think 8-5 is insane. As Sandman's owner now is on the stage here at the Preakness. So if all those people back Sandman again as hard as they did in the Derby, I don't think 8-5 is totally insane on journalism.
Griffin Johnson, can we get him? Can he be the commissioner of horse racing? I feel like he would be the perfect candidate for that. Everyone seems to have flocked towards the Griffin hype, which I mean, I'm kind of joking around, but it's been great to have a lot of exposure into the game from a guy like that, a young guy that necessarily wasn't in horse racing prior to this, but definitely you got to think the Sandman connections thought, all right, hey, we got all this momentum going, let's just run them again.
Yeah, no, and I think he's got the right trainer to run him again with Mark Cassidy. He can definitely be, an aggressive trainer for sure. So yeah, I think that that helps, as well. But yeah, it's good that he's in the game. When I heard he was running, I thought, oh, great, because you do want interest, and he brings a lot of interest. So we'll see. I do think if they show up like they did at the Derby, it does float up everybody's prices. Let's not forget, Sovereignty was a strong second choice in every pool but the win pool. So don't forget that. And that was directly because of Sandman, and then a little bit because a horse like Grinder Judgment and a horse like American Promise took money. But Sandman threw off the entire win pool of the Derby. That's a huge pool, right? If they show up like that again, it will throw off this pool. I guarantee it.
Well, whoever asked, look at the number 4, and this is it's it's the trainer. The trainer's riding him. Did you know that?
Whoops. Yeah. So
I'll change it.
I would think like fair odds on journalism's like even money, right around even money. I think would be fair. So
I think I would be surprised if he's below even money at post time. I don't know. People don't like to bet a horse like that when you've got a few other new shooters and a horse like Sandman. People are going to really like, I think, based on the connections. Also, because now I do say this, like we saw in the Derby too. The exotics, I would assume the exotics will be very heavily with journalism on top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This could be a situation where the win pool on journalism is going to be the value pool and not everything else, because you're right. Like, and that's what we saw. Like, the followers of Sandman are going to bet win. They're not betting exactas, pick threes, daily doubles, stuff like that. So again, I think journalism's 6-5 at best. I don't believe he's going to be 8-5. But it will be an interesting case study to see who shows up to bet Sandman again and what that affects. I would have made him 6-5, but I don't. I'm telling you, the Sandman effect is a real thing. So we got to just kind of keep our eyes on this. This is something we haven't really had to deal with. A whole big influx of followers betting on the horse like that.
That's why I screwed up the names, because they're almost exactly the same. Jamie Osborne and Safi Osborne. I don't know if Safi Osborne is obviously is a child or a cousin or something. Are you familiar with how they are related?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Father-daughter is what.
There you go.
Is.
Okay.
So there you go. What do you think of Heart of Honor in this race? I mean, they obviously bypassed the Derby. Which is not something you often see with those international horses. Everyone kind of shoots for the Derby, and then you don't really see them in the Preakness. This case, they did the opposite. Mm-hmm. Interesting, but any interest from you?
No, not really. I just kind of feel like, if Admire Daytona would have done anything, ran a little bit better, then maybe you think about it a little bit, But with Heart of Honor, it's kind of hard to make too much of a case for him based on what we saw. But yeah, look, I think I think it was smart that they waited to run in this race, a little extra time, a little bit easier spot. So, maybe he can make a bigger impact than Admire Daytona made in the Derby.
Man. All right. Well, I'm a little surprised on Gosker being 20-1 in the same ballpark as Pay Billy. I think that's interesting. I mean, Pay Billy makes sense being the top choice there, or longest shot, I should say.
Yeah.
But Gosker, after, that last race, I thought will probably be bet down to at least 12-1, I would assume. But I don't know. It's gonna be a very interesting race to see how these horses are bet. We talked about a lot on the Derby preview and whenever they drew and how they were going to bet. And listen, journalism didn't. What was he at 7-2? Is what he ended up going off at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, way better than we would have taken 5-2. So, he lost the race. Maybe we get somewhere in the 6-5 to 8-5 range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's possible. Again, like I said, I think I don't think people thought he would go off as high as he did in the Derby, and he did. Again, I don't want to repeat myself over and over, but because there was weird money in the pool. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really don't think he's going to be something like 3-5. If he's 4-5, that's what the lowest I could see him going off at. But look, there's other horses in here, like a Clever again at 5-1, like a Goal Oriented at 6-1. These are horses that have a big chance. I don't think there's any doubt about it, and they're going to be there at that price as well. So I don't look, and I know I know John White is like super high on journalism coming to this. I feel like you are as well. I can't get there as like I'm just going to throw a ton on him. I can't get there yet.
Listen, Hot Rod, I wouldn't bet him at 10-1. So I don't know if that's I don't have a lot of interest in Goal Oriented. The horse wasn't even going to run in the race. Then no plans to run the race. Rodriguez was the horse. He got hurt or whatever the issues are. They basically put Goal Oriented in because he couldn't. And I mean, anytime we've seen this before, time and time again, when Baffert runs like his other horse, it's like, hey, we wanted to get one in. We didn't know where to run him. We're going to run him here. But I have no interest in him.
Well, I'll say this as far as Goal Oriented goes. On Kentucky Derby Saturday, he was the horse I bet the most money on that day. Was Goal Oriented. I loved him in that race. I bet a ton on him. He won, and I exited that race going, I think he wasn't quite as good as what I thought he would be. When Hypnotist was running him down pretty hard down the stretch, I was like, you probably got away with one there. Mm-hmm. You probably did. So, which thankfully, but anyway, I like him, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about coming back in 2 weeks in the Preakness when it looked like a horse that needs a few more races to me.
Yeah, Hypnotist did. And that's what, Manlow, that's exactly what Halter and I were texting back and forth. And Halterman's words were, if that wasn't Hypnotist, he was going to get beat. It helped that it was Hypnotist trying to run him down. So
yeah, you made a comment like, thank God that was a Baffert, and I said yes, and thank God that was Hypnotist.
Yeah.
So
listen, I wouldn't say I'm not as high on I was on journalism in the Derby.
Yeah.
Which, listen, looking back, he ran kind of what you hoped he'd run in the Derby. He just got beat really. And so, I like him. I'd like him at 8-5 for sure. I have some sort of weird, I haven't made my pick yet, obviously, but I keep having this weird epicenter flashback of that where it's like I think journalism is a lock for second, second or first. I think there's and that's how I felt about him in the Derby. I was like, I think he's 1-2, one of the two, right? I just have and I keyed everything around him and Sovereignty, and that turned out to be okay. I feel that way with him here. I don't think there's any chance he doesn't show up. I just think he's and that was why I thought in the Derby, he's just plain and simple better than all these horses. But he's not as fresh as a couple of them. What if one of these, like I said, Clever again, River Thames, gets a little brave on the front end, and he doesn't quite have the, again, let's keep going back to that. I'm not saying that's where I'm going, but I may actually play a couple bets where I'm like keen Clever Again over journalism or keen River Thames over, you know what I mean? Because that the idea of him not quite getting there.
Yeah, I need to get the get everything, all the handicapping material and really look at it. But yeah, I will probably end up playing journalism a lot on a lot of stuff. We'll kind of analyze what the win pool is, maybe bet a win, stuff like that, make that decision the next day or two. But I just kind of look back in the Derby and go, you know what he did? He ran very well. He really did. If he was that good, he would have won, though. That's where I'm at with it. And trust me, it would have taken a big effort to beat Sovereignty, right? And I'm not downplaying what journalism did in the Derby. That was really good. He is not some kind of world beater. I just think he's really good. And a really good journalism that runs a really good race should beat this field, right?
Correct.
But if journalism's 85, 90%, I don't know.
Do you think
he could get beat?
We may know McCarthy's numbers off of a 2-week layoff.
Well, we're going to know it soon when the handicapping data comes out here in a little bit.
There you go. Laura, I think that's too mean, right? I mean, obviously journalism is a hype job. I mean,
no, he's not. A hype job would have ran 8th in the Derby. Like he's a good horse.
Listen, because journalism didn't get it. I mean, he ended up getting an okay trip after the start, but that first from the gate to the turn or to the first time to cross the wire was a little dicey. Like he didn't break well. What's his name? Fucking Citizen Bull came crashing in on everybody, and then that kind of a domino effect, which happens. But then he got into position, had to make a move because of where he was positioned there in the turn, and just like got ran down. And I mean, look at the numbers. He's been the most no matter what, he was the most consistent horse in the race all year long, right? He ran his race every single time. Even a horse like Sovereignty didn't do that, and so it's like you gotta give a ton of credit to him. Now, to Halterman's point, that's not always enough, right? Because then a horse pops like Sovereignty in the Derby. A horse pops like whoever in this race, if you know what I mean. So is he really, really good? Yes. But is he one of those that like needs everyone else to kind of run to their level? You know what I mean? Or can he rise to that occasion and beat a horse that makes that big move? And let me tell you guys, I've liked Clever Again almost all year. And I think this is a horse that is coming on at the right time. I think he's interesting here. Yeah. No, I would agree. I think it's a harder look than what I originally thought it would be. And I think like the biggest difference, like Robert says, journalism ran great in the Derby. It's the Derby. Shit happens in 100%. But shit really didn't happen to him. You know what I mean? Like he turned for home and it looked like he was going to win and he didn't. And again, I thought he ran really good. I thought he ran really good in the Derby, but I don't know that he ran great. I think if he ran great, he would have won. And I think that little difference is the difference between I'm going to pound him. Let's put a bunch of money on the nose to let's put a little on the nose. Let's put a little with him on top and some stuff, but let's not break the entire bank of the year on him. You know, I think that's the difference for me. What did Goal Oriented get? Do you have any idea what buyer he got in that race? I think it was like a 90 something. Don't quote. I thought I saw where it was a 91, but I've seen a lot of numbers the last couple of weeks, so I don't know if that's true or not. Didn't Clever Again get a triple digit buyer in that last one? I thought he got a really high buyer in the Oakland race. Yes. Yeah. 91. I thought I saw that somewhere. 91 for Goal Oriented. I thought Clever Again was 100. Yeah, I thought he got a triple digit in that. He did in that race. So I'm interested to see how or why he's not as fast as Goal Oriented. But hey, again, it's all opinions. We all thought journalism. I believe you as well. 101. Thank you, Penn State. Well, hold on. Who says he's not? What are you talking about? He's not fast. Hot Rod. Well, he's not trained by Bob Baffert, so Hot Rod's not going to ever play him. Yeah, so that's easy. I answer it for you. I mean, listen. If he was trained by Bob Baffert, he would be, If Clever Again was trained by Bob Baffert, Hot Rod would put $3 million on him to win this race. He would be he would outmatch the Sandman people. So
I wouldn't worry about that one too much.
Who ran a better Derby? That's a good question. Journalism or Epicenter?
That's a really great question.
I would almost go towards Epicenter, and because that pace was so absolutely torrid that day, and he was close enough to get in it and have maybe a little bit soften up. But he ran his eyeballs out. Journalism did too, though. I don't remember what Epicenter got that year, but it was probably a very similar buyer that Journalism got.
It felt. I would almost say maybe we say Journalism because he got beat by a much better horse, right? But
he held off Zandon. Listen, Rich Strike, you can almost just say that happened, and I don't know how it happened.
Well, he held off Zandon.
Ooh, a 98.
Who got a 98?
Epicenter.
Oh, I don't. Whatever. But he held off Zandon. But Journalism kind of held off Baeza, so I mean, they're about the same, I'd say.
Yeah, and we made the argument, and to be fair, we weren't saying it was. We just kind of presented the question last week on Blinkers Off: is could the slop of the Derby had some sort of just a little bit more help to sovereignty than it did Journalism, and that could have been the difference of the win versus loss. I don't know. One thing too, go back and watch the replay. Not that it matters too much to me, but if a lot of people, Baeza was catching up to him. Watch Rispoli on Journalism. He backed off of him once he stopped riding him to the wire. Like he let up and then obviously got close with Baeza. But I believe if he would have kept going, like you wouldn't have seen that get as close as it was. So that was one thing for me. I was like, at first, and I went back and watched. I was like, yeah, he just got beat by Sovereignty. And then once he did get by him, he kind of let off of him a little bit. But
yeah,
I have a lot of faith in McCarthy, and if they say it's good to run here, and there's really no pressure to run here after. It's not like he won the Derby, and so I think if he's in, that means he's ready to go. So,
yeah, and I agree with both things you said. You do trust McCarthy. I mean, a great trainer, and look, he could have said no if he didn't think the horse was ready. I don't think that there was a big fight. I think they made a team decision. Hey, if the horse is doing well, let's try it because we can go here. And we can beat what's going to be an easier field than if we waited for the Belmont. So let's go do it if he's doing well. And I applaud him for it. Like I said at the beginning, I'm glad they're here. And yeah, like I think I'm with you. Like the first couple of times you watch it, you're like, geez, he was fading bad, and maybe he can't get the distance, this or that. But you're right. Once Rispoli realized he wasn't running with Sovereignty and going to catch him, he pretty much just let off, and it damn near cost a lot of people a lot of money, including himself, because dude, go get second right here, but I think for sure he was not, foot on the gas the whole way around there. So, and look, there's a lot of little things you can definitely point out. You talked about out of the gate and what happened that could have, that first, 200-300 yards of the race, that could have bothered him for sure. He also has never been eyeballed on the outside like that by a horse. And maybe he just was like, what the hell is this? All of his races, he has a target. He passes them. Nobody's coming from behind him. He may have just kind of hit the idle button. They're horses. You don't really know. So, and again, I'm not sitting here saying he was bad. I think he was really good. I think he ran a race that could win a lot of Kentucky Derbies. So we'll see.
Well,
he has something to prove, I think, in this one.
What's very interesting about this race, and you and I talked about this prior, it's like he's probably going to be near the back if you look at kind of the way the pace sets up. And there's certainly two things in play here. One, there's not a Sovereignty in the race, like a horse that maybe a little bit better closer than him that he has to worry about. Hey, I got to the lead. Oh shit, here comes another one. I'll stand by that with Sandman. Sandman doesn't sniff journalism in that department. And then two is he's going to have plenty of targets, whoever you like. I mean, listen, a couple of them, so you would like the race sets up so nice for journalism here as well, comparable to what the Derby did, where you had that, like you said, came up on the outside of him. You're like, he's like, oh shit, what's this? I'm not used to another horse, coming up out after I've got the lead. So, I don't know. That will be interesting to see what tactics Rispoli uses with him here.
I mean, to me, and I don't know how fast it's going to be up front. I haven't fully looked at it yet, but to me, it looks like we got 4 speed horses, and then 3 or 4 that want to be in the back, and he should be he should split him. Like, I really think this horse needs to be a little closer than he was in the Derby, but I just think because of the Derby and the situation, that's kind of where he was going to fall. But I think he can sit, 4 lengths off of the speed, 3-4 lengths off the speed, and then go get him. Pimlico, historically, that's not a track that you want to come from way out of it. So get him in the race a little bit earlier, sit him 3-4 lengths off the speed and have him go get him. And if he fires his best race, I don't have much doubt he's going to win. I think as long as he fires that race that he fires, I don't think they're going to beat him. The problem becomes if it's 2 weeks back and he fires just a little bit less than his best, then I think he could be in some trouble.
I mean, when you look at the field, Pay Billy is kind of a stalker type, like not dead closer. I mean, Sandman's dead closer. You'd definitely be last out of this group, but past that, maybe like there's a argument where he's 7th or 8th journalism. That is. Now, I don't necessarily believe that's the tactic to go with, but if this thing just lights up with some of these horses, you don't want to necessarily get involved with that. And so I'm just saying, I think there is a world where he is further back than you expected. And Epicenter was a little bit like that that day. So, that's sometimes it happens. So.
Yeah, Epicenter kind of just missed the break a little bit. He was just kind of dull, and he just never was able to do it. He got second, and just never really thought he was going to win. And yeah, look, I think, when you look at this, I don't know. I think he's got more early speed than you think. I think it's going to be more like 5th. I think he'll sit about mid pack, but I think he'll split him.
Interesting. The comments are hilarious on here.
Yeah.
Journalism is awful. Like, I don't know. That's crazy. We don't know what jockeys rode in the horse in the race before. Yeah. I mean, listen, the past performances, once they're out, we'll dive into them. We obviously know. It's just we watch a lot of racing. And
what are we talking about? Who's riding who that we don't know about? I don't understand.
I don't know. Lord Zed. I mean, with a name like that, I can't imagine. All right. Let's here's a good this little plug here. Maybe this is a sign that Sandman will win the Preakness Stakes. Listen, I had like 3 different covers because we didn't know the freaking field forever. It was like I had Rodriguez on the cover. That didn't happen. And then it was like, well, shit, I don't even know who's gonna be it's like who's even the favorite of this race. So I was like, I'll just do it at the gate. And then it's like Sandman entered, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm putting Sandman on there. Yeah. Then journalism, obviously, the next day, but I was committed to Sandman. So the betting Bible is available over at racingdudes.com. If you were with the Kentucky Derby betting Bible, we hit everything as my neighbors are mowing. And we hit the exacta, we hit the trifecta, we hit the Oaks Derby double again this year. So we're back at it again with the Preakness betting Bible. Great time to get it. You get it for free if you are a premium subscriber. You'll get the Belmont with that as well. So John White's going to have his picks, the top 4 picks as well in the betting Bible for every race, all 14 races on Saturday at Pimlico. So go get it at the website, racingdudes.com. We'll have more for you guys there.
Yep. Should be exciting. We'll get to work on that as soon as we end this and start working on that the next couple of days. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be a fascinating race. I really believe that. And look, I think if we win, I think if we see a really nice winner, like if it's journalism or if it's like a Clever again, I do think that horse that wins if it's impressive, even if it's journalism, I think they're going on to the Belmont. And even if Clever again wins, I think we'll get the Preakness versus the Derby winner at the Belmont. Sandman, I think he would go. All these horses. So, I think this is a really intriguing race. I think it's a lot better than I thought it would be this time, last week. Well, I guess like Tuesday of last week.
Yeah, I mean, Asmussen said earlier in the week that, Clever again was always the plan to try to, to run him in the Derby. They got behind on him, or he was behind, and then they just he said we wanted them in the race like Publisher, of course, Tastic, but they didn't work out. But since then, I mean, it was like, hey, we're going to the Preakness. Like that's we couldn't make the Derby, we're going to the Preakness. So I think he's coming in super live. Let me ask you, but I kind of know the answer, but ask the chat as well, since we have over 1,100 people in here. Who's the best horse in the race? Like, just don't care about the layoff, if there's been fresh, the 2 week, like just all like plain and simple. Who's the best horse? And then who do you think is the best, like, fresh horse, the best horse that's coming in, his biggest competitor of the horse you think's the best horse? I think that kind of helps narrow it down and as far as trying to make a pick here.
I mean, for me, I think Clever Again's the best fresh horse. I really do.
I agree. I think it's journalism by bar none as far as the best talented horse in the race from a top, like all things being equal. I think Clever Again is the clear, in my opinion, horse that's fresh coming in.
Yep. And I think, obviously, I think journalism's the best horse. So, yeah. I mean, it could be an easy bet, if you say that.
And that's kind of why I presented it that way, because I think it helps maybe narrow down a little bit. Like, okay, listen, I do have, there's a bunch of different horses that are coming in, from the Derby, and then there's a bunch coming in that are fresh. Kind of helps in my opinion, narrow down a little bit with how you think. Because if you think journalism is the best horse, and maybe, but then you add in like, okay, maybe he's a little tired, maybe the pace is not, whatever example you want to use, then you could say, okay, well, I'll use him. And then you say, well, who's the freshest horse I'm most concerned about? Well, that's Clever Again. I'll use him, and if someone else beats me out of them, then great, Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. A lot of people are saying River Thames. I just really worry about the distance for River Thames. Like, I think he is a very nice horse. Very nice. But man, that Bluegrass, he just didn't look like he wanted to go that far. So I would almost like think about this for a second, right? Gosker was able to win the Lexington and do it fairly impressively. And then 1 week earlier, River Thames was really a lackluster third in the Bluegrass. So they're both coming from Keeneland, right? One's 20-1 and won. I know it was a lesser race, but he won and finished decent. One finished third. You're getting 20-1 on Gosker. You're getting 9-2 on River Thames. Like, I don't think there should be that big of a gap there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think 20-1 is crazy on Gosker. I don't know how good of a chance, but Luis Saez, the way he's been riding, give that horse a shot for sure. So
yeah, it's very interesting, very interesting.
And then, of course, American Promise will go gate to wire, because that's, of course, what happens.
Well, I will say this. I think you can kind of draw a line through his Kentucky Derby. He was chasing that pace the whole way. But how good is American Promise? I think that's what you got to ask yourself. If you're going to back him, forget about the Derby. I didn't like him going into the Derby. I just don't see a race that I love from him. So if he wins, he wins. It's not going to be, I can't back him.
Well, there's one thing about it. He knows how to win this race. That is Wayne Lucas. So
he does.
So does a guy like Bob Baffert. So you got to take those into an account always when those guys have horses in the race. Asmussen doesn't, right? So that's an interesting. And so does Todd Pletcher. The two guys that have a lot of success in training, not a lot of success in winning this race. So.
Well, Asmussen's won this race twice, so
yeah, but I'm saying like overall picture, like he's won it twice, but it's not like this is a race like Bob Baffert comes into this race and you've got to take that into an account. Todd Pletcher's never won the race,
right?
Which is very interesting as well. So, all right, we're gonna get busy here now. We got the handicapping begins, right? The official handicapping begins over on the website at racingdudes.com. We're going to be diving into this for the next couple of days, and the betting Bible will be available by Wednesday of this week. Hopefully, this is the field that stays, right? No weird scratches, knock on wood, for the rest of the week. But I guess I'll let you kind of leave us with advice, thoughts as they kind of dive into this themselves.
Yeah, for sure. I think, look, I think now is the fun part, right? We all have to go handicap. I know, like, people are like, who do I bet to win? Well, we haven't even handicapped the race. This is the draw. So
It literally just
come back to the site in a couple days, or probably tomorrow morning. There'll be a full preview of the whole race. I'll tell you exactly what to do. But anyway, that's what we're going to start doing now. And I think once you get all the, I've always said this, once you get all the horses on the same page and you can look at all the data that you look at day in and day out, you have a much better idea of what you're going to do. And I think with this one, journalism is going to be awfully tough to beat, but I do think there are some sneaky ones in here that can beat him. And I think the whole big key is going to be, how low are you willing to go on journalism? Because 8-5 probably not going to happen, but 6-5 might. And is that a good enough price for you? If the answer is yes, then you don't have to get too, you don't have to get too creative. If the answer is no, then you can get creative and you start looking around for other horses.
So some of our regulars in here that are in the chat, obviously, I have a job for you that I want you to message me after you find out what's the record for Derby runner-ups in the Preakness. I'm very interested on what that number is. So,
I know Exaggerator was a Derby runner-up that won.
Yep. All I can remember is, I'm trying to think of runner-ups.
Runner-up is very specific. Like also Rans have won.
Oh yeah, also Rans, yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But Derby runner-ups coming back in 2 weeks is kind of an interesting angle. So
it seems to me Exaggerator was the first one that had done it in a while, but I could be off. I seems to me I did an article on this when Exaggerator won, but that's been so long I don't remember. Fleet Alex was one. Curlin ran third. That doesn't count.
Because the idea behind that, or why I presented that question that way.
Actually, I don't think Fleet Alex was second in the Derby. I think he was third. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Alex. Yeah, Alex
he was third. Yeah.
Is if the horse, and again, this is just kind of in a vacuum, but if the horse wasn't good enough to win the Derby, then how good can, you know what I mean? Like, could he get the job done in just 2 weeks later?
Well, I'll say this. He gets a big break because the horse that beat him isn't here. Where the horse that beat those runner-ups were there.
Hey, that's very fair. There's two different questions at play here. There's what's the record on the runner-up in the Derby, and then what's the record of the runner-up in the Derby when the winner of the Derby isn't in it?
It might be 0 for 0.
Yeah. Yeah, looking at Lucky though didn't finish second in the Derby though. So there you go. But good cheer. It would have been fun to see good cheer in this race for sure. I don't know. That could have been interesting to have that one in there. But looking at Lucky was like a really rough fifth or so, I think.
Yeah, he was off the board. Yeah.
But hey, it's something to think about. And I'm actually gonna, if Kevin, I expect you to be just already going through and finding me those answers. So I expect to have that a text from you here in the next hour or so with that data. But if not, I'm going to start going in with that as well. So
there you go.
But hey, listen. And I wanted to add one more thing that you mentioned to it about kind of why it's like, well, hey, who do you like? Well, who do you like? Well, it's like, well, hang on. Now we have them all together. Let's start, because I'll be honest, we have, and there's the Derby is a different animal. That 3-week gap between the last prep and that, all kinds of stories start coming out right in your head, and why this horse can win and this horse can't win. And journalism went from in my head went from being the biggest lock ever to I kind of like them again. So like the thought process has changed, and then you see the field and you see them all on paper, and you start handicapping, and then it gets clear, and that's where. I'll be honest, after the prep, Sovereignty was probably borderline top 5 for me in the Derby. Okay. And then as I got closer, and then I saw the field and I got them, the analytics and on paper and all the things, I was like, hey, listen, it's either Sovereignty or Journalism. Those two. No one else. I'm dead set on those two winning the race, and that's it. If someone else does, then I'm not going to cash my ticket. So, so that's why I say, like, don't hone in on it too much until you start diving into the actual field that we have now. So it's good advice, and it definitely helped me in the Derby. So
yeah, absolutely, I agree with that.
But again, we'll be live again on Wednesday or Thursday for the official Blinkers Off Preakness Stakes picks. So we'll give that. Obviously, go get the betting Bible over at racingdudes.com. We update that for scratches and everything every single day. So if you buy it, you'll be the first to get the updated picks and analysis that we offer for the Preakness and Preakness Stakes day. All right, guys.
Oh, hold on. I've got your answer if you want it.
The Chat GPT, did you ask?
No. Well, our own human Chat GPT, John White, just texted me the answer.
Oh, what? Oh, hang on.
So this is from Dave Grinning. DRF's Dave Grinning said journalism will attempt to become just the fourth Derby runner-up since 1960 to win the Preakness. From 1961 to 2024, 44 Derby runner-ups have started in the Preakness, and only 3, Summer Squall, Prairie Bayou, and Exaggerator, that was 1990, 1993, and 2016, have won. Only one Derby runner-up in the last 6 years has run in the Preakness, that being Epicenter, who finished second in the race to early voting. There you go.
There you go. That is... Yeah, let's be fair. John White's way better than ChatGPT.
Exactly. Yeah.
Being friends with John White is like having your own horse racing ChatGPT.
Exactly.
I mean, literally, you just ask him, and then I didn't even ask him. He just was listening, and somehow it got out, and we already have a text about it. So,
yep.
Yeah, here I'll post that in the chat here as well.
There you go.
But that's kind of fascinating, right? Like that's a tough trend to go up against. So. I don't know. Something to think about, guys. So,
yep. There you go.
Kevin, that's probably true, though.
Very true.
Listen. I'm not going to argue with you on that one.
Very true.
Again, guys, make sure you go to the website, racingdudes.com, for all our picks and analysis that we have for the Preakness. And as it gets closer to Preakness Stakes Day, go Twitter at Racing_Dudes, Instagram and Facebook. We got channels all on those. The YouTube. Make sure you stay right here. Hit that like, notification, and subscribe. Because again, a lot more Preakness videos and content headed your guys' way. Appreciate everybody jumping on here with us as we announce the field with you guys and let the handicapping officially begin here. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. We'll see you later this week, guys. Good luck.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.